Big Herc916, positivity, motivation, keeping you laced up. And I was thinking while I was sleeping, sometimes I do that, and kind of popped in my head about this cycle of war and who really profits from war. Everybody has these different conclusions or these analysis of why this happens, and resources, and strategic locations, and mineral rights, gas, all this stuff. A lot of that does play a factor, but war is a way to consolidate. It's a way to put rule over a new territory through debt. And it's nothing new. It's been going on since the beginning of time. Whenever you go to war, it costs money. Who finances these wars? Do your homework. The banks. When you talk about just the United States in general, Civil War, the Union States versus Confederate. Who financed the Confederate? Who financed the Union? Now, regardless of who won or lost the war, according to who wrote history, somebody has to pay back that debt. Whoever pays back that debt owns that country, because they loaned the money. Therefore, they can implement policy. They can implement legislation, because they have influence, because you owe them. See, you gotta look beyond the obvious. And if you wanna take over something, you create conflict, finance both sides, and you come out the victor either way, because both sides owe you. Therefore, when somebody doesn't pay, all you do is use the military as your enforcement arm of whatever it is you're trying to impose. Those are your collectors. So, who's backing Russia? Who's backing Ukraine? Whoever's backing who, at the end of the day, is going to control the resources. It's not what you think. As far as when you start looking at, you're talking about the EU, you're talking about NATO, you're talking about all this stuff. Who's financing them? If they go to war, who's the backers? What banks are behind them? And then now, if you're talking about what they want to do post, they have people who they back to run for office, who in turn implement policy that favors whatever they wanted to achieve long term. See, people think 20, 30, not even, they think 50 years, 100 years down the line, 2, 3 generations. You guys live in the now. You have no idea. It's just like they talking about coming to America, escaping British rule. When they came over here, it was always to pull them back. When they came over here and basically went to war with the Redcoats, with the Revolutionary War, they needed money. Who financed the United States? The so-called, George Washington. Who gave them money to fight so-called Britain, quote unquote, so-called? Because all these people were also British citizens, still under somewhat of the rule of the crown. See, the Civil War, everybody says slavery, man. It was about consolidation, putting in the debt, and then they formed the United States, which is the corporation. And then you turn around now, that corporation is ran by people who run finance, who are bankers. Do your homework. Read your history, man. It's about creating debt to impose control and rule. Because anytime you go to war, the war against drugs, had to borrow money. You got the CIA, you got the drug DEA, you got the ATF, you got the FBI, you got, you know, all these different, you know, going after the cartels, this and that. War against drugs costs money. You got the war against terror, costs money. And you got the war against humanity, costs money. People are making money. It's a 20-year cycle. We're up on the next 20-year cycle right here. 20 years before, it was the war on terror. Osama bin Laden, the mountain man. 20 years before that, war against drugs. Black folks. Black folks getting out of control. War against drugs. Let's create another war. Create more debt. Put the people back in their place. 20 years before that, Vietnam War. Create all kind of debt. Then we can own all that property in Southeast Asia. Come in, implement policy. 20 years before that, World War II. Put all those countries under debt, and then we can implement back whoever we want. See, whenever you run for office, you run for these people are not just out of nowhere. They have to do what they're told. Everybody thinks like, oh my God, this guy's really saying this. He's a puppet. These are puppets. It's the people behind closed doors who run shit. This real talk, man. Do your homework. You guys think this is like you really put these people into power? No, somebody else put them into power because you can't run to convince you to think that you really got them in the office unless you have money. Money is what sways and convinces. It pays for social media. It pays for campaign slots. It pays for travel and all this. All that stuff costs millions of dollars to run. Why do you think these people run, then they drop off? You're like, you know how much money they spent running to just pull votes, what looks like they're pulling votes, and then let somebody else take their place, or say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just be a vice president instead of a president, or I'm just gonna, you know, just give me a seat or a position once you get elected. Dude, it's a game, it's a game, it's a game. But at the end of the day, war creates debt. Debt makes money. Yeah, debt makes money. For those who run the banks, big business, man, big business. So, you know, everybody's, oh man, the invasion, this and that, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you got to look at this as a cycle, 20-year cycle. We're coming up on the 20 years. The last big debt push was the war against terror. Take all the oil, consolidate that, and then put people into play in the office. And sometimes the people who are there like those people, sometimes they don't. A lot of times they don't, because those people don't serve their narrative. It serves a foreign narrative. See, foreign narratives it's no different than having foreign soldiers in your neighborhood. Would you want foreign people in your neighborhood trying to tell you what's best for you? That's like somebody coming from another hood trying to tell you what's good for your hood. They never grew up there. They don't know your families. Come on, man. It's the same thing. But in order to not make it look so obvious, you finance something, and as a result of all that chaos comes order. Out of chaos comes order. Sun Tzu, Art of War. Do your homework, man. All I do is sit back and meditate. And I'm not going to get deep into politics, but I just look at the whole thing, and at the end of the day, and just go back to the Civil War, man. It wasn't about freeing the slaves. It was about consolidating, because if they would have broke off, you'd have had two countries over here. Now it would have been harder to impose and for trade and control the monetary, and you'd had two different types of currencies. You'd have had, you know, separate policies as far as two different countries and the Union and the Confederate. I mean, dude, just do your homework and see who backs who. Every war costs money. Who backed World War II? Who financed it? You got to remember to borrow money. Even when England was warring back in the day against France, they got put into debt. They owed somebody. Everybody owes when you go to war. This is like 50 Cent said. You got money, you can go to war. You can want to beef, you can beef. It's no different. Record labels do it all the time. They back somebody through artist management and publicity, and the beef gets escalating and somebody gets shot. Who wins? The record label, because all the masters, all the songs sold because of a dead artist. But they win by default. It's just no different, man. It's no different than what you see in the rap industry. It's a big rap industry right here. War makes money. Big Herc916, man. I'm just spitting a little game, man. Just putting it into perspective. I'm not going to get detailed like a lot of you people. Oh, man, they got iron ore this. They got oil reserves. They got this. They got that. Man, it's about putting them under somebody's control. And whoever that person who comes after this, you're going to see what I'm talking about, man. Watch. It's all about war. It's all about consolidation of power under one roof. And then you got one person who rules everything. Then you see really who has your best interest. Peep game, man.
Don't forget to stop by the Big Herc916 store and pick you up a beanie, or maybe a sticker for your car, or a sticker for your laptop, or read one of the many books that I've authored. You know how we do it over here. Big Herc916.
Hello, I'm Big Herc916. Contact me for life coaching and motivational speaking.